cleaning cash flow. Today I'm going to show you my flow chart on my recruitment process. But before we jump into how the system looks, I want to talk a little bit about how valuable it is to do it the right way. So I started the referral agency after I closed my cleaning company and I converted. Since then, I've fine-tuned and tweaked all the systems, and I know I have a killer, practically foolproof system that I use now for recruiting. But on the journey, I also have recruited a few cleaners who now only service one client a month with me, or a few clients a month with me. And that's fine because I don't have to manage them, of course, and the system just runs by itself. They know when the cleaning is, they go clean, we collect payment, they get their percentage, I get mine. That's fine. But my good recruits, the ones that are taking a lot of more consistent jobs, they're generating about $1,500 a week in revenue, right? 60% to them, 40% to my agency. So that's $900 a week to them, $600 a week to my agency. Times 4, because there's 4 weeks in a month, so that's $6,000 in revenue, right? I wrote this number down. So that's $2,400 to my agency on a good recruit per month, times 10, times 20. Like, once you make a good recruit, the earning potential that you have by working with this super rock star is limitless because you can duplicate the system over and over again to recruit the right cleaners. So on each good recruit, I'm making $2,400 a month, and I'm working 2 to 3 hours a week because they're so great. I mean, if I recruited really needy cleaners or cleaners who are always wanting to stay in touch or ask questions about clients or ask about the agency and blah, 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 I couldn't work 2 to 3 hours a day. I'd have to be on text all the time answering their questions. Something ridiculous like, I'm locked out, how do I get in? It's like, how do you get in any other home? Call the client, check if there's other ways of getting in. You know, it people who solve their own problems, that's the kind of people that I want to work with. So in any case, I hope you enjoy the presentation, but you know, it really makes a difference, a good recruit and just an ant recruit. So here goes. Hey there, we're going to dive right into talking about recruiting cleaners. And before you can actually start recruiting cleaners, I recommend that on your company website you have a work with us or a job opportunities tab, so that for one, job seekers can go there to find out more information about your agency and how they might work with you. But secondly, it makes it really easy for your existing cleaners to refer their friends or family because they know exactly where to point them. In that web page, you're going to want to tell them about what it looks like to work with your agency, all of the perks and benefits that they get in terms of how it could help them advance their own house cleaning work, but also there should be a place for them to apply electronically, and I'll reference some of that in the content resources that we have on the Business in a Box page, which is our online store. So the first part is the job posting. So you're going to create a job posting, and this needs to be a concise posting to kind of automatically filter out people who are not going to qualify. I'm actually not looking for high volume of applicants or interested cleaners. I'm looking for very specific and very qualified cleaners. So sometimes I post this and I might get just like 3 or 4 responses. I've heard a lot of people in our Facebook group saying they get like 30 responses or 100 responses, and then guess what? Like 2 people show up. So let's avoid the whole workload by being specific on our job posting, letting them know what the criterias are to work with the agency, why they're going to benefit from working with the agency, and then how they can apply or show their interest, that they're interested in working with the agency. So once from the job post, once the cleaner submits the inquiry form via the link on the job post, that's going to be automatically sent to the office staff and the VA. So for me, I have a virtual assistant who works through this process with me. So I just wanted to be alerted when a submission gets sent in, but really I actually take no action. My VA is going to take action from there. So from there, the virtual assistant will screen the forms that get submitted to see if the cleaners are qualified. So as you recall, on the job post, we list a ton of qualification requirements. And when they submit this inquiry form, based on the content of the questions that are asked, the virtual assistant is going to see if the candidate actually does qualify, or if they just kind of submitted because they're interested, but based on their answers, we can see that they really don't meet the requirements of the job opportunity. So if the cleaner or the candidate qualifies, the virtual assistant will contact them to go over the job details and have an open conversation with them about what they can and cannot expect from the job. Being clear is really important because you don't want someone to onboard with your agency taking your time and their own time just to find out it's not going to work out. So they're going to go over the specifics of what's required, the general information of working with a referral agency, going over some legal information about tax documents and what's expected of them with regards to taxes. And then if at that point they're still interested in registering with the agency, the virtual assistant will send them an application form via email. If they do not qualify, the virtual assistant will send them an email letting them know that they did not qualify, but that email is also going to offer them an opportunity to refer us to their friends or family who are interested with an incentive, so that we're not kind of wasting that point of action. And then from there, we're going to vet the candidate. So the candidate now has already received this email with the application form. The application form is essentially a part 2 of what was their first submission. So their first submission was the inquiry form. Now they get one that asks for their references, both personal and professional. And then it also asks them for their preferences of work and when they can come in for an interview and orientation. So essentially, these forms kind of, at the end, I'll print them all out and I'll staple them together, and that's essentially one full application. I'm just breaking it up into different segments because it's not necessary to do this all at the beginning for a few reasons. One, can you imagine if you were a job seeker and you're interested in working with this agency and then you hit click to apply, but then you have to fill out like 3 long, daunting pages of questions? That's already a turnoff because you're not even sure if this agency is going to call you back. So that's one reason why I break it up. The other reason is by breaking it up, it creates relevancy, right? So the first inquiry form lets us know if they're interested and if they qualify. Now that they're qualified and we've already had that conversation with them, they understand that what they're about to do next, which is to provide 3 personal and 3 professional references, that the weight of how much they want this job can follow through and show up on these references that they're going to give us. So hopefully they're going to give us really great references. The other part too is by telling us what they're interested in doing when they register with our agency. So as you know, they get to decide their own scope of work. So what if they don't want to do dishes or do want to do dishes to have more job opportunities? By having the phone conversation that the virtual assistant already had with them, they know that they can be upfront and honest and what the consequences of these answers are going to be. So I just like to break it up because it's more relevant and it seems to work in the system. So once they've submitted that second form that we had emailed to them, the owner or manager, which is me, gets prompted of when they can schedule an interview. So in that, they're going to let me know when they can come in for an interview. So I'm going to call them and I'm going to schedule their interview for 7 days later, because in the interim, my virtual assistant is going to contact their professional and personal references. That needs to be completed or mostly completed before I get to the interview process, because I don't want to waste my time doing an interview if I don't know that they're already qualified. No, that's just kind of a funny part, right? Because you think, okay, the interview is actually to determine their qualification, not in my system. So in my system, everything that leads up to the interview pretty much tells me that 95.5% chance you're going to succeed and we're going to move forward with recruiting you and onboarding you within the agency. The other component is all the way up until this point, you can see that my actual interaction with this candidate has only been a 3-minute phone call where I talk to them about when to come in for an interview. Everything else is they're doing the work or my virtual assistant is doing the work. So I'm not wasting time. So once they pass to the next part, right? So now we're going to actually do the actual interview in person. We're going to let them know that the interview could take anywhere between 30 minutes and 90 minutes. That's the reason why we do that is because we're leaving room to see if they did good in the interview, and I want to move right into the voluntary orientation so that we don't have to schedule another meeting. We can just execute it right then and there. So let's see, manager owner conducts the in-person interview with the candidate. If the candidate passes the interview, we proceed to the orientation in the same meeting. If the candidate does not pass the interview, we just say thank you for your time. We send them on their way. They don't know that they actually missed out on something at this point. Then we'll send them an email later saying thank you. Unfortunately, we're moving in a different direction, and we're still going to ask for referrals to other cleaning people. No, cleaning people. You always have to ask them if there's someone else who's interested and give them an incentive why they should refer your agency to their friends and family. So from there, we go into the orientation. Once the orientation is done, then there's some more legal stuff that I do after that, like the background screening and all their forms are being done during that orientation as well, all their legal docs. So that pretty much completes it. Now, there's a lot of nuances, some of that I touched on in these processes that's going to increase the likelihood that you're going to get a rock star candidate. But a lot of them exist within these steps that I can't just share with you here. You have to see it for yourself because there's a lot to go over within the resources that I've provided. But, when you recruit the right people, just a good recruit on average earns you $2,400 in your pocket every month. Right? So it's important that you get that, and you also pick the right people so that you don't have to work a lot because they are self-starters and they take initiative, and they're being invited back by clients constantly so that you grow your repeat business, so that you're not always having to fight for new business and doing all this extra legwork. That's why this step in your business is the most crucial step. Recruitment, hands down, bar none, most crucial step, the most difficult to get right. A lot of people think it's getting new customers. That part is not that hard. It's the recruitment part that's hard, especially when your brand is on the line. So I hope this is helpful, and wishing you much success. Bye now.